Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Taking a brief break from all of the Cyberpunk videos. Today's video is going to be all about the Derp. Now I realise that I'm probably preaching to the choir here. Most of you already know what I'm talking about when I say Derp. But for the benefit of those of you who perhaps don't play these games but watch the videos anyway, allow me to explain. A derp gun in World of Tanks usually, but not always, refers to a howitzer, something that is very large caliber and tends to fire a low velocity, usually high explosive shell, that if it penetrates the armour will do a colossal amount of damage, but is notoriously inaccurate and often has an extremely long reload. Technically, Golden Smalls here in the ISU 152K doesn't have a derp gun in the traditional sense, but, well, the BL-10 gun, the infamous troll cannon, and yes, he did really just do that. It turns out that unless you deploy from the start zone sharpish right at the beginning of the match here on Himmelsdorf, you can be sniped clean across the map. That was one of the enemy artillery. Himmelsdorf is notoriously unfriendly to artillery. He was probably having himself a good cry right at the start of the match because this map came up in the rotation. And, well, now he doesn't have to worry about playing on Himmelsdorf anymore. So, it's all good. But yes, technically, a large caliber armour-piercing firing gun, like the BL-10 troll cannon here on the ISU 152K, is not really a derp gun, but it ticks all of the other boxes. It's inaccurate, it's got a long reload, it's large caliber, it has a horribly long aiming time, and if it hits and penetrates, you're going to have a really bad day. You know, I have mixed feelings about the ISU 152K that you can see Golden Smalls driving here, because I absolutely adored the ISU 152, the non-premium version of this thing, when it had the same BL-10 troll cannon gun. In their infinite wisdom, Wargaming decided that that was far too much gun to have on a Tier 8 tank destroyer, so they removed it from the ISU 152 and replaced it with something inferior. Sometime later, in a move that stunned and surprised absolutely nobody, it turned out that what Wargaming actually meant when they said that the BL-10 gun was far too powerful to have on a Tier 8 tank destroyer was that the gun was actually only far too powerful to have on a Tier 8 tank destroyer that you could grind for free. If you were prepared to pay for it, it was perfectly acceptable, and thus, the ISU 152K was born. And yes, that really happened too. That was an ammo rack. So, yeah. It turns out that overpowered guns are absolutely fine as long as you're prepared to put your hand in your pocket and pay for them. They're just bad if you can get them for free. Well, anyway. Thus far, this battle has basically been a tale of two lemming trains, with Golden Smalls team lemming training up to the top of the hill, and the enemy team lemming training right down the curved road at the foot of the hill. And now making a beeline straight into the cap circle. Somewhat predictably, the majority of Golden Smalls' team are all still sitting at the top of the hill, not quite sure whether or not they should react to the fact that at least 3 enemy tanks are sitting in their cap circle, although some of them appear to have made their minds up and are now coming back. And with 10 seconds to go before the team lose the match, somebody really needs to get that reset off. And that'll do, wasn't even fully aimed. Nearly 800 damage on the WZ-111, but he's not alone. But all it's done is buy the team a couple of seconds. It needs to reset something else. There's the Object 704, 2 seconds, 1 second, countdown reached 0, gun reloads, boom! Hit him after the countdown had reached 0. Only did a couple of hundred damage, but it's enough. Now the rest of the team are in there. Golden Smalls thinking about going for the Ferdinand, but well, the rest of the team seem to be shooting pretty much everything other than the one tank that hasn't been reset yet and really needs to be. And there it is. Still 3 enemy tanks in the cap circle, but they're getting swarmed. And Golden Smalls is about to have a 30 up his ass. You see, here's the thing about the ISU 152, and by extension the ISU 152K. The only thing that was good about the ISU 152 was the gun. The manoeuvrability, the speed, the armour, the visibility, everything else was distinctly mediocre. But that didn't really matter, because the gun was hilarious. The Ferdinand has the chance of getting a killing shot here. Instead, he decides to do no damage and shoot the Foch instead. For which, I am sure, Golden Smalls was eternally grateful because it allowed him to get the final kill. And you know what? It's been far too long. It's nice to feature again the old ISU-152 troll cannon that we all know and love. It's just a shame that Wargaming decided that they had to take it away from us and then repackage it and sell it back to us 6 months later as a premium. Moving on swiftly, but staying with the same derp theme, here on the Kharkov map we have Von Foz and his platoon mate Ovos, both in the M4A3E2 Sherman Jumbo. Both of them armed with the 105mm howitzer, the classic mid-tier derp gun. If you look down at the ammunition counter, as I'm sure most of you probably already have, you'll see that yes, Von Foz does have 15 rounds of high-explosive anti-tank gold ammunition. He's not going to use any of it because, quite frankly, when you're in a Sherman Jumbo and you're top tier, you don't need to. The Sherman Jumbo in World War II was disproportionately popular and loved, not just by the tankers who served in them, but the infantry who served alongside them, and that was because of the howitzer, specifically the high explosive shell fired by this 105mm howitzer. A lot has been made about how American tanks, and the Sherman in particular, struggled to deal with the armour of German tanks in World War II, and that's not really true. I mean, they did when it came to dealing with things like Panthers and Tigers from the front, but from the side, the old M3 75mm gun was entirely capable of dealing with Panthers and Tigers, and from the front, it was entirely capable of dealing with Panzer IIIs and 4s. So when Army Ordnance started supplying the new M1A1 76mm gun, promising that it would put an end to the Panther menace, and it turned out to be not that much better than the old M3 75mm gun when it came to shooting up Panthers and Tigers from the front, the tank crews were less than impressed, particularly because American tanks actually spent most of the time not shooting at German tanks, and instead shooting at things that required a good high explosive shell. And the 76mm gun's high explosive shell wasn't very good. Enter stage left, the Sherman Jumbo, the M4A3E2, designed as a medium assault tank to be used in the European theatre of operations in the events following D-Day, although a number saw their way to the Pacific, where they were greatly appreciated by the US Marine Corps as well, because assault tanks aren't for shooting up other tanks, they're for assaulting fortifications, strong points, bunkers, dugouts, machine gun nests, concealed anti-tank gun positions. And this 105mm howitzer, with that high explosive shell, was exceptionally good for that kind of work. The extra armour at the front of the tank, functionally equivalent to the frontal armour of a Tiger, certainly didn't hurt either, and this tank became ridiculously popular. With the addition of extra armour at the front, 100mm of total frontal armour on this tank, the equivalent of the Tiger, by the way, there were concerns. Oh dear, yeah. Yeah, he probably would have been better off trying to just accelerate and get around the side and just run, but his chances weren't good either way. But yes, with the addition of all of this extra armour, that added considerable extra weight to the good old Jumbo, and there were concerns that the powertrain, the transmission, and the engine wouldn't be able to put up with it, but they ran a road trial, which basically consisted of strapping concrete slabs to the front and sides of an M4A3 and running it for 500 miles with no reported abnormalities or failures. Turns out that the M4 Sherman's reputation for mechanical reliability was extremely well deserved. And reliability had always been... Oh shit, that was a good shot. Sorry. Getting distracted here. Oh, and that was a good shot too. No, you don't want to back up. The shot came from behind you. What are you doing? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh well, never mind. But yes, mechanical reliability had always been at the forefront when it came to the design of the M4 Sherman, because they knew that it was going to be used at the end of a supply and logistics train that was thousands of miles long, stretching all the way from the factories in America across the Atlantic and into Europe. So the tank had to not break down, and if it did, it had to be easy and simple to repair. Of course, it didn't hurt that America went to war in Europe, what was probably the world's best supply, logistics and engineering support. Oh, you know, I think that one didn't even hit the tank. I think it hit the gun barrel. and it was the splash that killed him. So the combination of world-class logistics and support, and arguably the most reliable tank of World War... Whoa, what a shot! Because that's the thing about the howitzer, it's not a high-velocity anti-tank gun. It takes a while for the shell to get there. Oh. So that was actually a very, very well-aimed shot. But yes, where were we? We're talking about the Jumbo. A combination of best-in-class supply, logistics and maintenance organisation, and arguably the most reliable tank of World War II, fitted with the kind of gun, a howitzer, with an extremely good high explosive shell. All of that extra armour at the front, coupled with a transmission and engine that could reliably keep it moving for hundreds of miles without maintenance. Well, without machine shop maintenance. Obviously, the crews did their own daily maintenance, which was easy to do because it was such a reliable machine. But all of those factors combined meant that America, in the form of the M4A3E2 Sherman Jumbo, had what was arguably the best assault tank of World War II. And the Jumbo's services were constantly in demand, all the way up to divisional level, with commanders wanting to know if they had any Jumbos handy whenever there was an assault plan. Which is kind of bizarre, because America only built 254 of them, less than 1% of the total build numbers of M4s throughout the course of World War II. There's been a lot of criticism about the M4 Sherman in all variants as a tank package in World War II, in particular people complaining that, well, why wasn't the Pershing rushed into service when the Sherman was so clearly underperforming? But the thing is, nobody was complaining about the Sherman. Certainly not at regimental, divisional or corps level. The commanders loved the tank. This was the tank that America was winning the war with, and US Army Ordnance had always maintained, and they were quite correct, that no divisional, corps or army commanders were asking them for a better tank. So, okay, I guess we'll let US Army Ordnance get away with that one. And yet at the same time, regimental, divisional, corps and army commanders were all singing the praises of the Sherman Jumbo. They couldn't get enough of them. But US Army Ordnance only built 254 of them. So if anybody knows why, because I haven't been able to determine an answer, admittedly I haven't done a huge amount of research on the subject, but please, do share your wisdom in the comments. Why was it that America only built 254 of these exceptionally good tanks when they were clearly appreciated, all the way from platoon right up to army level? And while we're here, congratulations, by the way, to Von Foz. I know you thought it sounded like I wasn't actually watching, but yeah, I was. Extremely well done. 10 kills, Pools Medal, crucial contribution for at least 12 kills between the platoon, steel wall, high caliber and Top Gun in the M4A3E2, the legendary Sherman Jumbo, here on the Kharkov map. Hope you enjoyed today's video, folks, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.